Hey, I wanted to follow up with a little video as we are entering into week 6 of the Anglican Sacramental Theology course that we're all enjoying, I hope. I certainly am, and I hope you're getting a lot out of it. One of the things I wanted to talk about in this short video is just how we engage with the readings. This is really important. First of all, if there is a video for the week, such as this one, I really encourage you before you even begin to engage like with the discussion questions. You certainly can do the readings prior to it, but when you begin to engage with the discussion questions, or if you really want to have an informed approach to reading the assignments, then watch that video because I will often be giving you direction in this video like this one for how to read the text and what to look for in the text and then how to respond. So that's going to be very helpful. Along those lines, it's really, really important when we're responding to the readings. First of all, it's critical that we actually do the readings. So when you're doing the discussion questions, you need to have been attending to the reading. So when I get responses that have little to do with the reading and very much to do with one's personal presuppositions or previous experiences, while those are good, certainly, and we're thankful for those things, it kind of indicates that the reading hasn't been central to the way you've thought about those discussion questions. So what you need to do, and let me be very clear about this, is in order for you to engage well with those discussion questions, it requires you to actually have read the text. So while personal opining feels good and there's nothing wrong with it, it's not what we're doing here. We're trying to get ideas perhaps we haven't engaged with before, probably haven't engaged with before, and to root down into those ideas in a way that honors the text, so that we're actually engaging with the reading per se. Because that's what stretches us. That's what gives us a broader scope and greater insight as we deal with things specifically like our understanding of the sacraments within the Anglican tradition. And this is very important, especially for those of us who are going to be in an Anglican context or who are going to or who are already ministering in an Anglican context. These points are derived from our Anglican resources. So one of the good things about Anglicanism is that it is essentially it's a generous orthodoxy. We do have doctrine, we certainly do, and we have doctrinal boundaries, but Anglicanism is a generous orthodoxy. So that means that within Anglicanism there can be a scope of a breadth of how we understand certain theological points, but we do have positions on things, and so if you're going to be doing ministry in an Anglican context, then the authentic response is, well, I need to be formed in Anglican theology on these points. If you're going to be ministering in another context, and I think perhaps some people are going to be are taking this course for enrichment or something like that, but they're going to remain in a different context, perhaps a Presbyterian context or something like that. It certainly is going to help you, and there's many points where there's overlap. In other words, the Venn diagram between the breadth of Anglican understanding of the sacraments and the set of sort of a much more reformed Westminster or Calvinistic understanding of sacraments. There's a fairly large overlap in that Venn diagram, so I can understand why someone might come from a different tradition and still want to be informed in this way. Now, as regards to one point in particular, and some of my comments actually originate with the responses, the discussion responses to "We Cannot Live Without Sunday." That little piece I actually wrote for our local parish. One of the things that I wanted to address is that. I think by using the presenting issue of the pandemic, it may have emotionally overwhelmed people's ability to respond to what the paper is about. So that little article, let me give you a hint, it is not about the pandemic. That article it's the presenting issue is the pandemic. The article is not about the pandemic. So you need to ask yourself this question, and it's very important because it has to do with our ecclesiology, and we're continuing to delve into ecclesiology. Is what is this article about? What is this little piece about exactly? And if you had attended to the video from last week, you would certainly have had some way of thinking about that article, that you just didn't get sucked into the maelstrom of how people felt about the pandemic and responses to the pandemic, etc. So the presenting issue was that's what occasioned the article in the local parish, but that's not what the article is about. And so you need to engage with what that article is actually about and think about that. I'll give you another little hint here. If you are familiar with John Howard Yoder or Stanley Hauerwas, or you come from perhaps a Mennonite background, that article should ring true to you in many ways. And that's not the only way. And of course, I mentioned Keeble and the sermon National Apostasy in the previous video when I was setting up how to read that article and what the context is. So those are the things that you need to be attending to, because they will come up again. It won't be in the same setting, probably not anyway, in a pandemic setting, but those issues are going to arise in how the church interfaces with the surrounding culture. I'll let you read the article so that you can get specific about it, in such a way as to maintain the integrity of the church and its faithfulness to her Lord Jesus Christ. So that's just what I wanted to follow up on with you about. Again, I think if I was going to take anything away from this brief video is, number one, you really read the article, read the resources that have been given to you, whether that's in an article or some other form, and then read those articles for what they are saying, and respond from within the context of the reading. You may bring in illustrative material from other sources and things that are directly germane, but make sure that you're not just kind of shooting from the hip and writing based on your personal experience without any informed engagement with the reading per se. Just a word for the wise there. You will gain a lot if you do that. You'll get the most out of this course you possibly can if you'll take those points of guidance. So look forward to seeing you all as we approach our residential weekend. Since this is a video in week 6, that means we do have a May 9th Zoom engagement at 7 p.m. on May 9th, Tuesday, May 9th. And then, of course, we all gather. We check in at 1 p.m. on Friday, and then the first session begins at 1:30 p.m. at Christ Church for our residential weekend. I'm thrilled about this. I can't wait to see you all and to be with you personally. Thanks a lot.